All right, you're asking for it, so here it is. Listen to this.
I want you folks laughing at we partners pod, kid. You understand? We in here drinking, singing, swinging, all that shit, dog. We sweating, getting wet, all that.
Welcome to the 98th episode of the Drinking Partners Podcast. It's the countdown to 100. Yes, this is our, I'll do this for my boy Day, out of sheer love. This is our Casey Hampton episode. Shout out to Casey Hampton.
Best
Shout out, let me tell you,
ever
Casey Hampton is my favorite
do
Pittsburgh
it.
Steeler, and I'll tell you why. This motherfucker is the realest dude I ever seen. I've seen Casey Hampton on the South Side about 98 times, and I'd say 96 of those times he was wearing flip-flops. Like, this nigga don't care about money, dog.
He worked. I worked out at this barbecue joint down at the waterfront across from Lowe's and shit. And he came in. I guess he had his family or whatever. It was like 18 motherfuckers. And like he was in the middle, and like we put two tables together, partially because he took up a whole table damn self. And I mean, he ate like $100 worth of motherfucking ribs him damn self. Like, so he lived that life, man. He was super cool, man. Like down to earth.
Shout out to Casey. Not only is he one of the coolest people, which we like to think we're two of the coolest, but also he just fills a void that people underappreciate, but you know the defense don't work the same without it. Then that's what we are to the culture out here. Like, you may not appreciate us, even though we did win Best Podcast. You know, a lot of people try to sell us short, but we definitely fill a void. Like, we out here, we're the voice of the people trying to do it themselves. We always connect with anybody. We don't discriminate race, age, none of that. Like, we out here, if you're doing something positive, you know what I mean? We trying to be a part of that. We trying to, you know, promote that. So shout out to Casey, my favorite Steeler. I give him respect for that. And shout out to us, our favorite podcast. If you've been listening, you know my voice. I'm half of the hosting tandem, Ed Bailey. I'm joined as always with my co-host Dave Bracey. Say what up to the people.
What's good with you people? We are Drinking Partners, and if you're looking for us, you can find us on epicastnetwork.com/partnerspod. You can find us on IG, Twitter, and Facebook at Partnerspod, and you can find us on iTunes, Stitcher, Libsyn, and Google Play.
We Googleable
under Drinking Partners. 98 episodes, man. We've been asking for you, asking 98 times. We're going to ask again. Rate and review. Please hop on iTunes, rate and review. That's how we let others know that we're doing well. That's how we know that we're doing well. And that's how we continue to do well. So please, rate and review, man.
Hey, you love us. When you see us out in the streets, you tell us you love us. Now just go on the internet, click, and tell the world. You know what I mean?
Seconds, man.
That's all it takes. You know what I mean? Like, we definitely appreciate the love. And even if you hate, just tell us that you've been listening. You know what I mean? Like,
you might actually get more shout outs if you
haters are like currency out here. Like, the more they hate you, you know what I'm saying, the more you doing something. Like, if they don't love you till somebody hates you. So we in our Jackie Jizz segment. Shout out to Jackie Jizz, who wrote the most hateful fucking review that I've ever had on my life. Aside from the time that a dude called me a racist and homophobe because I told this white dude that he practices black girl moves in his free time. So apparently that makes me a homophobe. I'm gonna read a review. We got a review from Beckers 3128. So
shout out to hey. I actually know Beckers.
You know Beckers.
I know the Joyces. Shout out to the Joyces. They have been one of the most loyal, just even my own personal career. I got into comedy because they were like, yo, you're a funny dude. You should do this. And we started the podcast. They've been fans. They've been out to several of the shows. And last time I saw them, they were like, yo, we gonna get a shout out. Yeah,
wait, were they at the
they were
at Grist House?
They were at Grist House.
Okay,
they
well,
were at
shout
Voodoo.
out to y'all.
Yeah, they were at Voodoo. And they was at a Hitchhiker.
Okay, so shout out to y'all because I've run into you several times, and every time I've reintroduced myself, and it's because y'all don't say nothing at the beginning of the cast. Like, when you come out to these live dips, you got to talk to me early.
Yeah,
6 beers in, I'm gonna talk to you, but then the next episode I'm gonna reset. I got alcohol-induced Alzheimer's. So Beckers 3128 said, I love listening to the podcast. These guys have a fresh and down-to-earth perspective, and guests only enhance the fun. Bonus, the beer and promotion of great local businesses in our fine city. Hoping to catch a show in person soon, which they've obviously done.
They've done that
several times over. So shout out to Beckers. We appreciate the support and the love, and you are the antithesis of Jackie Jizz. So To the
Shout
Becker's
out.
crew,
Yeah.
this one's for you. Dave Bracy, what you drinking on over there?
Well, this is the second podcast today, so we drink on the same thing we were drinking the last one. Shout out to Flying Dog, this Raging Bitch, this Belgian style IPA. It's like 8.3, very smooth, and it has those same qualities. Like when you look at a Belgian style, you look at the Belgian, it's kind of a little sweeter or whatever. I mean, it's got a little wheats to it, and the IPA's got the hoppiness to it. So you get that in there, and it's a very good beer. And it's one of my faves, hands down. So shout out to Flying Dog.
Yeah, I have to say this. I mean, anytime you can say raging bitch and you ain't got to deal with a conversation afterwards. Like,
you talking about an actual dog?
Yeah, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm loving it. I've been fucking with this bitch all day. Like, I remember I used to say that and it was incriminating. But nah, y'all know what time it is. Shout out to Flying Dog. I respect the beer. Like, as a new craft guy, Flying Dog has a couple of the more tasty Jones that I haven't. And this Jones ain't no lightweight. Like, I think it's like 8.5. It's 8.3.
Yeah,
so if you're talking
yeah.
about 2 to 4 hours straight on the raging bitch, like, you ever been fucking with a raging bitch and like for mad hours straight? And you realize it's time for you to get dressed and leave.
Yeah.
Like, we've all been there.
Let's get out of here before it becomes police involvement.
Yeah. Like, I can't do much more. If
And we gotta go to Brutal after this. Like, so we did Terry Jones, and that was like the longest cast that we've ever done. We're about to do this on Raging Bitch, and then after this, we got to go to Brutal. So it's
it's been a
marathon,
long
man.
It's been a long time.
It's tough. It's
Shouldn't
tough
have
life.
left you without a dope beat to step to. Listen, if
two.
you've been listening, you already know 2 of 2 on a day. Like, we podcast twice a day, so that second one is always more real, more raw. We come in very, very libated, and it's very fun. We got to do a couple of shout outs, or one main shout out, because when this comes out, I think we're still going to be doing November 26th.
November 26th.
November 26th.
Compton Theater now. November 26th, if you don't know that date, it's the Saturday after Thanksgiving. So that's when the leftovers run out. You're sick of your family, and you're like, what's there to do?
But
you
they're
on the
still
Saturday.
there.
They still there.
And you got to entertain them for that third day. So that's that third day of entertainment. It's tough.
That's the tough one, because you get the Thanksgiving, it's all good. You get Friday, it's Black Friday, you're shopping or whatever. You get the leftovers, yeah, I mean, it's still kind of cool. And Saturday, it's like, what?
Do I want to take Aunt Jubilee to the club? No. Take her to a comedy show.
Comedy show down at Compton Theater, man. It's in Cranberry on Route 19, and we've got a great lineup. We've got Sean Collier is going to be on there. He's headlining. We got Felicia Gillespie.
Felicia Gillespie.
Again, it's the second episode.
2 of 2.
And we got Razor Watney or whatever. And then we've got Rayz's in the house. And we also got Paul Joseph. He's going to entertain you with the music. And then we've got Chris Simmons going to come through with the from Pennsylvania Libations, and he's going to come through with a spread of liquor. And this is the first time second time we've had McLaughlin Distillery. Shout out to them. And this will be the second time we've actually got a liquor coming out and then give you guys some of them free shots or whatever. So it'll be a hell of a show. Tickets are $15. November 26th, Compton Theater, and tickets are on ComptonTheater.ticketleap.com. So man, hop on that. Check us out.
Yeah, so check out Christian Simmons on episode 91 if you don't know what he does. Brings out a lot of local craft liquor, so not brew, but like liquor. So like you get a couple shots, get some bourbon, some whiskey, some vodka, all of that. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So,
I asked him, like, yo, can you come through? You know what I mean? Maybe he was like, all right, so I'm going to come through. Maybe you guys want to push 2 tables together for all the liquor I'm going to bring. I'm like, maybe you just want to bring one table.
Yeah.
But that's the type of party that he's trying to bring.
Yeah,
in,
it's
man.
gonna get real, man.
So it's going to get deep, man. So
coming off of the
through.
100th and then doing that, like my liver is gonna be like, what the hell? You know what I'm saying?
And then we got that Pittsburgh generation that listen or whatever. Like we got that,
Is that the
podcast panel. 15th, yeah. So come out to that. Apparently, you got NPR and WISA or whatever, they're doing the thing, and they're doing the podcast panel, because apparently podcast isn't as a thing people are listening to. So going to have a podcast panel. So if you're in the podcast, if you're trying to start a podcast, if you got a podcast and you're trying to further it, come on out. And I guess we'll give you keys. We'll give you as many keys as we can because
signature fade with the bevel.
Yeah.
Nah, it's love. So look, we're not even gonna delay because, like I said, this is 2 of 2. We've done our duty as podcasters, done the drops. We had my boy T Jones on the last episode, so check out episode 97.
Limbo Negro.
Yeah, Limbo Negro. Brian Young, get the album if you haven't got it. And if you don't get the album, go out and check him live. Very good dude, been out for a while, just now getting the recognition that he deserves, so that is really dope. And this podcast, 98, is a personal investment for me because I've known this guy for years, you know what I mean? It's really cool to know somebody and then see them move into something that they love, you know what I mean? Because you go to college, you meet people in college, and you got this subgroup of people who generally go into things that they love, you know what I mean? You get a couple people who get into some things that are just fairly lucrative, but they don't necessarily love it, you know what I mean? And then every now and again, you meet a guy who follows his passion, you know what I mean? And I can respect that doing comedy. I know that caught a lot of people off guard when they found out I was a comedian. And people what? You know what I mean? It's and then they come see me oh, okay, I get it. You know what I mean? And this guy is funny as shit because I saw him at the beginning of his journey and didn't know what the hell he was doing. We was just in Gold's Gym getting it in, but he was on a different regimen. I would see him, but he never was let's work out together. He knew his shit was a little more serious. You know what I mean? He was hitting a couple of more machines than I was.
Yeah, different ropes.
Yeah, he was doing some extra shit. But we got Duke Davis on the podcast, aka VA, a professional wrestler out here. Say what up to the people.
What's going on, man? This is your man, Duke Davis.
Your man.
Your man.
Nice.
Man that's a very Negric nickname.
Yeah, your man.
Because my homies told me my homies was yo, you got to stop saying it's your boy. You're old. You know what I mean? You're grown now. You're not a boy anymore. You stop trying to be like Jay-Z. So I switched it up.
It's your boy.
I'm still beholden to your boy. It's your boy. But your man. Yeah, I actually I knew a nigga from Braddock named Man. You know what I mean?
There's a man in every family.
Yeah, everybody got a man.
In every family.
Definitely a man.
So everybody understands that.
He just couldn't figure out what he was. He was like, man. He was that just means you were a male child. That's right.
You're your father's son.
Yeah, you look like your dad. Your dad's name was Earl. There aren't too many variations of Earl, so you are now man. That's how that came about.
You're
your
father's son.
Yeah, man. So we got the Duke Davis persona now. You're a professional wrestler.
Yeah, man.
That's not what I've known you to be when I first met you.
Yeah.
How did you get into the wrestling?
First off, man, I just want to say, man, congratulations on everything y'all getting right now. Jigger Partners, y'all, the fact that y'all are #1 podcast in Pittsburgh.
Yeah, we didn't want to say it, but
I mean, I want to say
somebody else said it.
I would say it. You know what I mean? Congratulations on that. You know what I'm saying? First and foremost, and the fact that you guys came together and did this thing is pretty dope because I saw it from the beginning. You know what I mean? I pay attention to a lot of things you guys are doing, and even in the city and doing the shows in other places. So keep doing that. Keep doing that, man. Keep it up. Don't stop because you guys are you got your wave.
Appreciate it.
Appreciate that.
As far as it's crazy as far as this the whole wrestling thing, man. I always want to be a wrestler. Always want to be because it was like a hidden passion, but my homies know. They was yeah, we knew you were gonna do this because I kept talking about it. I'm trying to figure out how to do it, and somebody just approached me one day and asked me yo, you ever think about wrestling? And I was like, actually, I have, but I don't know how to get into it. Where do I go? And that's when you saw me in the gym going so hard.
Yeah,
because
that's super hard. You ever been in the gym? To be in the gym, you see people who go hard at you, and that's cool because generally you could throw them in a weirdo category because you don't know him. It's like a dude, he's an investment banker, but he's walking around working on his traps, and he's got his fucking shorts rolled up because he's working on his quads. You're like, yo, fuck that guy. But then you see somebody and it's like you all of a sudden you're on alert because you see someone you're like, all right, I want to make sure I'm pushing enough weight and all that. But then I'm just like, I'm not gonna be doing.
Because my boy Terrence or whatever, I mean, shout out to 5X Fitness or whatever, but he was in the NFL or whatever, so his NFL regimen what, I'm just sitting there like I'm a skinny nigga. So I just was like, all right, let me see if I even want to do this for more than a month. I got a month membership, you know what I mean? And he got, so like, having him as a gym partner for them 30 days, I was like, yeah, nah, that's not gonna.
Yeah, he kind of turned you off.
Yeah,
It's like, nah, you got a different goal.
Yeah.
You got to know your gym goal set. You got to work with the people who got the same goals. And I realized that VA, aka Duke Davis, he had different goals.
Had different goals. But I ran through like 6 workout partners. So I'm on I'm by myself again. I'm by myself again. So so when you saw me, man, I was without a partner at that time, and I was just starting training. And just starting getting acclimated to training at the center at PWX out in McKeesport. That's where I wrestle at right now.
Okay.
And it was one of those things, man, where you get into and you kind of like, all right, so what am I really getting into type thing? Because you see it on television, it's a little different when you get there, and it's like, all right, so the first day there, they were like, we want to see, how good your cardiovascular workout is. And I was like, great. I'm glad I was working out for all these months.
Yeah.
So, I did the cardiovascular thing. The problem is I basically already ran a mile outside warming up. We had to run 15 laps around the building. Now, this building isn't flat. Pittsburgh has no flat land anywhere. And this is also in McKeesport. So I'm running up and down steep hills around the building. That's 15 times. So I come in, I'm like, all right, running the ropes. And no lie, like the first time I hit the rope, I wanted to quit.
Yeah, because there's so much, there's so many acrobatics, and even that, because I wrestled in high school for 2 years.
All
you know what I
right.
mean? There's a whole day.
Like Greek Roman shit?
Yeah, I mean, and that was the first thing that I had, because I was one of those kids because my mom really couldn't afford to stay in any one thing too long. Once the booster tickets and you need rides or whatever, I couldn't stay in any sport too long. So I did a bunch of different sports, and wrestling was the toughest because I learned that 3 minutes is eternity. Yeah. You know what I mean? And when you look at the especially professional wrestling or whatever. The acrobatics, all them the ropes or whatever, you had the Jimmy Fly Snookers, especially the Mexican wrestlers, all that shit, the top or whatever. I mean, you 3 minutes of that?
3 minutes. We're talking about that's 3 minutes. And I actually did wrestling when I was young, as a kid, as a boy. That was my first sport I ever did.
Oh yeah?
First organized sport was wrestling.
That shit will wear you down.
It will wear you down. But it helped out as far as my center of gravity because I was a tall kid. So helped out my center of gravity playing football, moving on to other sports. But when you hit these ropes, I'm going to tell everyone, when you hit these ropes, you will come to Jesus. I'm telling you, you will come to Jesus because the ropes bite back.
Oh,
and there's no spring. I'm telling you, there's no springs.
That's what it looks like. It looks like it's just like a rubber band.
No, there's no springs. It's wire and wood and steel.
Really?
That's it.
See,
So you say they just had you running into the ropes and running back and forth?
Yeah, so you got to run and hit the ropes. You got to do that I did that for 3 minutes.
Just running across the ring, running into the ropes.
Running, hit the ropes. But this before they taught me how to hit the ropes.
Okay.
You just had to do it. They wanted to see where you were at. Cardiovascular workout. And that was a workout. I was drenched. And then they were like, okay, 100 push-ups, 100 sit-ups. I was like, I could do that. They're like, all right. Now it's time to learn how to hit this mat. Hit the wood. It's called taking a bump. And man, the first time I did, I was like, I'm not quitting because that shit just hurt.
Yeah, because it looks like on TV, it looks like the ring is very bouncy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, because even the turnbuckles or whatever, they got padding on it, and you think that you're just in this fun house.
Right. I put like this. If you ever had a bunk bed, not even a bunk bed, how about this? Take your box spring.
Yeah.
Take your mattress off. Take the box spring and fall down on the box spring flat on your back. That is the basic equivalent I can give a person that's not in wrestling.
Yeah,
that's the basic equivalent.
That's crazy because because of the way it looks.
Yeah.
And then again, you're looking, and that's why they call it professional wrestling, because they have honed their skills enough to make it look like fun.
Yeah,
they are just bouncing or whatever. You know what I mean? And there's not enough because growing up, you know what I mean, like I was a big fan of wrestling growing up. You know what I mean, Hulk Hogan's and the Randy Savage, Ultimate Warriors, or whatever, the whole nine.
Ooh, yeah, bro.
Yeah, I missed that whole wave.
Yeah,
Right.
like I was a huge fan. You know what I mean, Sweet Chin music and the
Right.
whole, like, you know. And then once I realized, like, because I was still in the kayfabe where I just thought like it was all real, and then I got to a realization that it wasn't. I was like, oh shit, I was turned off. So then I went through this period of like I was turned off because I was like, oh, that ain't real wrestling. They just,
Right.
you know, here. And then I got to a point where like I realized like the moves, the technical, you know, the technicalities of two dudes,
Yeah.
doing all of these crazy ass shits without like, you know, injuring themselves. Like, and there are injuries.
Yeah,
I mean,
there
but
are
like
injuries, yeah.
to be able to do that at that like, you know, level or whatever, and then like, you know, the like you said, like the ropes and the mats and the whole nine or whatever, to be able to do that, like when people say it's not a sport, no, that's a fucking sport.
Yeah.
Because like, I mean, if you're looking at a sport and how much physical exertion it takes
Yeah.
to make something happen and entertain people, that is one of the most like, yeah, I mean, the most exhausting sports that football, like, it's a high collision sport. Basketball, it's one of those. Yeah, I mean, it's more endurance or whatever. And wrestling is intensity for a long, especially like when you get into those, you know, bigger matches that go on, especially, you know, the headliner and whatnot.
We're talking about like WrestleMania. People gotta understand, like when you watch WrestleMania, like the main events are 30 minutes.
It's 30 minutes.
They're 30 minutes long. So
Just
imagine
those two motherfuckers doing all that shit.
and entertaining all those people. You got to be entertaining. So the thing is that people need to understand is like, all right, you look at it and you're like, man, it's not real, or man, they're not really hitting each other. All right, I want you to try to entertain somebody for 30 minutes with another person that you got to be on point with for 30 minutes in front of a lot of people.
Yeah.
Think about the train that goes along. Also think about this. The next day, they're in another town doing the same thing for 30 minutes again.
Wait, hold on. So let me, because we're gonna come from two different perspectives on this podcast. Me having not watched wrestling, Dave, who I assume watched wrestling growing up, and you, who I assume watched wrestling and then also wrestled. So you got to build me from the ground up. So you're telling me, so like WrestleMania is like a concert tour?
Yeah, well, WrestleMania is the biggest show.
It's a big event. But like you got Monday Night Raw, like you got like Circus, you got like there's so many. Oh, I mean, like I said, like you.
Yeah, so like Monday Night Raw is all right. So Monday Night Raw is one show, right?
Right.
Then they have SmackDown. That's another one show. Monday Night Raw runs 3 hours. SmackDown runs 2 hours. All right, that's Monday and that's Wednesday. Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, they're somewhere else. Wrestling.
Just doing some shit.
Yeah.
Some shit
the
that's
schedule
not
used to
televised.
be, the schedule used to be 300 days a week. 300 days
Damn.
out of the year.
Shit.
So if you think about that, they're wrestling almost year round.
Yeah.
There's no off season. You may get a month but if you're like one of the top guys, you may get a month here and there, but you may get a couple days, but you're back at the shows.
Yeah.
And it's every day. It's a grind. And so when you see NFL players, this season is 16 weeks.
Yeah.
And if you're a Redskins fan like me, you know your team's done.
Yeah.
So they go back to what they was doing. Wrestling is a continuation. It's a show almost every night.
I didn't know that the schedule was that deep. I just thought it was you know what I mean, like the televised events or whatever. You know what I mean?
Just for television.
That's wild.
Yeah, that doesn't even lend itself for any time for practice or like, you know what I mean? Like I guess the shows will get better as we do more shows, but like when do you even let me just
that's
I guess it's kind of like
that's your
comedy,
job.
where if you were doing a set every night,
but I'm not
you're
doing
gonna
my set with you. Like I'm not saying something and you're saying something. Like it's not like that.
Well, but it's saying that like we're what 97 episodes in, right?
Right.
We get better as we get. You know what I mean? So I would imagine it's the same thing with wrestling. As you're
take
working
2
with
weeks
somebody,
off too sometimes.
yeah,
like,
that's the
we
thing.
ain't
Like
300 days a year. We work on
all we
Sundays
do is
at
talk,
the best.
Right.
and we got to take a couple weeks off because we be like, yo,
Tired
What
of
we gonna talk about today?
tired of this nigga his opinions.
Right.
Damn Twitter rants. I gotta answer to those.
All these retweets he be going at.
Exactly.
That's
So let's take it back to the beginning. So
Yeah.
how different, you say you wrestled in your youth, how different is it now? Or how many of those skills that you had wrestling growing up were actually transferable to you getting in the ring now?
I would say the most transferable thing is connection and able to show your intensity. Because when you're wrestling another person, like shoot wrestling is what we call it. So shoot wrestling is what you do on the mat, like the Greco-Roman wrestling, like Kurt Angle did in his Olympic run. Yeah. So that you have to have certain intensity in spurts.
You gotta explode.
Yeah, you gotta explode in certain intensities throughout the match. Now, the transferable thing is like a lot of the things we do as far as like pick people up and slam them. A lot of those moves are the same moves you learned as a kid or wrestling. You know what I mean? You learn those same moves. So sometimes I'm thinking like, oh, I know a fireman's carry. I know what a fireman's carry is. So I go, all right, cool, I can do that. Or even being able to roll and do a flip, you know, stuff like that I can do because I did that as a kid.
Right,
so it's like, it's one of those things that you just, like riding a bike.
Yeah.
You never stop learning. You know, like, oh, you get in that situation, like, oh, I can ride this bike. It's no problem. It's like any other bike I rode in my life. So it's the same thing. Now, the thing that switches is I cannot hurt you. Like, in real wrestling, I can do whatever I want to. If I get you in a move, then unless you reverse it, I can put you to sleep and I just won, or I can get you in a certain position.
Well, I'm looking to hurt you. Like, if we in real life in combat, I'm trying to end this shit quickly.
I'm trying to get up out of here, you know?
Yeah.
But as far as you got to remember, it's a show.
Yeah, you got to do tomorrow night in Toronto.
Right.
Like,
they tell you 10 to 15 minutes and you mess around and hurt your guy, and he can't go the rest of the match. It's just 7 minutes of TV they got to fill. And that happens. Sometimes guys keep going. That's why if you ever seen like a guy, like now at WWE, they have people come out, check on guys. Yeah. Sometimes because you just don't know. Somebody may take a bad spill.
Concussion protocol where like the industry is starting to.
In the indies, on my level, there is none of that. There is either you got to fill this 10 minutes,
or you out,
or you just got to fill these 10 minutes.
Yeah,
you know, you got to figure it out. And I know, like sometimes, like last night, man, I took a bad little spill. It was my fault, but at the same time, I was like, man, you know what? I'm gonna power through.
Yeah,
I'll figure it out. I'll take some Tylenol tonight, and we're just gonna take a little less of a workout during the week.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you got to fill that time slot. You got to. That's your commitment.
Yeah,
it's the same comedy. You can't, they book you for 15. If you come off at 10, they're gonna be, If
man, I hate when I book a motherfucker and they come off at 10. I'm like, they got paid you for 15.
Yeah, like we'll pay you for the night. Yeah. You won't ever be booked in this town again.
Right.
You'll never find work in this town again, motherfucker. Like,
that's all you got. Because when I did some mama jokes for a little while.
Yeah.
So
did you do any like backyard wrestling at all, like as a kid? Because like I did a little background
Kimbo
wrestling.
Slice shit?
We had a little belt we made up and shit. And like and I think like it was weird because like I didn't really realize that it was fake until a little bit later afterwards. But like when we were wrestling, like it wasn't really like real. It's such a like a weird space to be in because like, we're in this like backyard wrestling or whatever, and we're to an extent kind of like, doing some moves and trying to get or whatever, but like we know that we ain't trying to really hurt each other. I mean, it's kind of like wrestling. When you're wrestling with your boys, you're boxing with your boys or whatever. It's like
slap boxing.
Exactly. Like you're going like you're going like 70% type. Type thing or whatever. And like we did a little bit at little backyard wrestling or whatever. So so you didn't get any of that?
Nah, I didn't do any of that. The reason why I didn't do any of that because I was of a mindset of I played football during that whole time of like people's backyard wrestling was a thing.
Yeah,
I played football, so I was like, I'm not going out here and play no backyard wrestling.
And you've been hurting.
You're already big. Like, you're like 6'4", 6'5".
6'5",
yeah. I'm not backyard wrestling. 6'5".
I didn't want to
play wrestling with you, fam. Fucking pick me up and just toss me across the yard. Fuck out of here. I had to shoot you.
But I know cats that did that, and they also like because the industry, because a lot of cats came from that, like the Hardy Boys, they came from backyard wrestling. Like Shawn Michaels did a lot of that.
Yeah, a
lot of cats came from that era and that type of mindset, and I was just like, I just didn't trust the other person because you're not trained, I'm not trained.
Yeah,
so I kept it like that. I was kayfabed it because to me, like people say fake, and I'm just like it's fake. To a certain extent, but we really out here trying to.
Oh no, you really doing high risk moves like like when you look at old boy and now I'm drunk, and I hate like names with it, but
Rey
with
Mysterio.
the ladder, with the ladder matches, and
that's the only wrestler.
whose
I
old
know
boy
is Rey
used to throw the fingers in your
Mankind.
Mankind. Yeah, I mean, like
Yeah,
he
you
was
not
one of
putting
the
your fingers
wildest.
in my mouth, nigga.
No, but like that was he was like
That was his
Mankind?
finishing move.
Yeah, Mankind.
Yeah,
like,
but
that
I'm
was
not.
one-
I'm not openly accepting your fingers in my
And
mouth.
they did
Fuck
barbed
about your
wire
finishing
matches
moves.
and glass matches and like all of these like pushing the genre, like we're
Yeah.
like, and like when I'm looking at it and like they were like wrestlers like really cutting themselves, like you really cutting yourself
really
and
bleeding
like
out
really
here.
bleeding out here, like
Yeah.
so it's like. You know, it's not real, but like you really like bleeding and you hurting and the motherfuckers breaking limbs and like losing lives. Like I mean, and it's like it's not like people ain't dying as commonly or whatever, but like there have been times where motherfuckers die in the ring because
Yeah.
you do a high, risk move or whatever.
Yeah.
Like that Mexican wrestling, that like high, like what is that? I don't know, what's the term for it?
Lucha.
The lucha or whatever,
Lucha
when you're
Libre
doing
style,
all,
yeah.
when you're doing all the high acrobatics off the top ropes and this, that, and the other, and like
And that's the first 2 minutes of the match.
yeah, you come off and you're doing that. You know what I mean? Or like Jimmy Five Snooker with
Yeah.
the head, like to come off the top rope and headbutt a motherfucker, like and to do that, like that's crazy.
Yeah, I'm not doing none of that shit.
Yeah.
like that's crazy as shit.
I'm and maybe wired differently because the craziest thing is I watch the reason why I got into this, the reason why and it stuck with me the rest of my life. I've watched watched two things. I watched WrestleMania 17 when it was the tables, ladders, and chairs match, the part 2, the Dudley Boys, Hardys, and Edge and Christian. They killed each other. They did all types of moves. I remember this one move. It's called a Swanton Bomb that Matt Hardy does off the top. He did it. He normally does it off the top of the ropes. He
Yeah.
does it off the top rope. This time he did it off the top of the ladder.
The ladder, ugh.
And I fell in love with that match. I still have it on VHS. And I remember watching that match, and I was like, I want to do that.
Yeah,
I want to thrill people in that fashion.
that's insane.
Then
man.
I watched Survivor Series here in Pittsburgh. I remember watching on pay-per-view. I don't know how we got it in our dorms, but freaking Mankind got thrown off the top of the cage by Undertaker, thrown off the top of Hell in a Cell, so many feet in the air, crashed through a table. And I said, I want to do that.
Yeah, that shit. Like when I saw, it, like, yo, that's fucking that shit. Like Mankind. Like for me, Mankind
Who
was
the
like
fuck
one of
is
my.
Mankind? That's what I'm trying to figure out.
Like
Mick Foley.
Mick Foley.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, he went through a couple of iterations. He had a
Yeah.
couple because he came
Cactus
in
Jack.
Cactus. He came in as Cactus Jack from like when I was introduced. I don't know what he was doing like in the Indies. You know what I mean, before that, but he was introduced as Cactus Jack, and then he came out like as Mankind or whatever,
Yeah.
and he was just like weird as fuck. And like high risk shit, so like glass and barbed wire and ladders and all kind of shit that
Tables. Oh,
tables. Like so, if it was he pushed that boundary for me as a fan, like watching that shit or whatever. And it was insane. And one of the things that kind of brought me back into respecting it was the movie The Wrestler.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because that was really when I kind of saw the behind the scenes where like all the shit that goes into like, look, this is real niggas doing real shit. You know what I mean? Like, this is, it might be predetermined, but you are really in there performing and it can go either way. Like you might
could go left.
Yeah, it could go left like a motherfucker. You know what I
It can
mean?
definitely
Like,
go. It could go left, and it's we call it in the industry. And I don't feel like I'm giving this away. It's called an audible. Sometimes stuff happens, and you're like, dude, we can't do that move. We're gonna have to do this
Yeah.
because my back is finished.
Yeah, I just
so
just
how
fuck
do
some
you
shit
even
up.
communicate that? Because I think the industry is so. Here's what I will say. So I'm not a huge wrestling fan. I would never lie to you and say I was.
Yeah.
What I have grown is as I've gotten older and more mature myself. There's a healthy respect for the show aspect of it. I mean,
Right.
wrestling is a show. Like
Yeah, it's
like
very-
I watch battle rap, right? Like
Yeah.
I'm a huge battle rap fan. Now you're watching battle rap, and are these niggas really gonna shoot each other? Do he really got a gun so big it can stop time?
Yeah.
No, but I respect the fact that he took time to think of that
Yeah.
shit and write that shit. So
That's a
with
good
wrestling,
analogy,
there's
yeah.
a very physical like respect for what you do. Like even though the angst and the tension isn't real,
Yeah.
the move is real.
Yeah.
Move is
You
real.
may not have really been DDT to where your vertebrae were in jeopardy in
Yeah.
the sense that he was trying to hurt your vertebrae.
Yeah.
But if you don't execute that
The
correctly,
skill.
your shit's still in jeopardy.
Yeah, the
like,
skill is
if
there.
I fucking diamond cut you, is that a move? That's a dude.
Yeah,
Diamond Dallas
cutter,
on his
yeah.
page. Yeah, man, I know. Lou, like I played the wrestling game. I fucking diamond cut you wrong. Like I was just watching O State versus Nebraska, and dude got clipped and broke his vertebrae. Like imagine, I don't know, it was like running of the bulls upstairs. But you do that shit wrong and it could get crazy. So I respect that aspect of it. And as an adult now, I understand what it is. It's like watching a reality show with all violence. The violence is the key to the reality show. The storyline that they can build, because what happened with wrestling, I mean, again, not being a huge wrestling fan, but what I saw up in the years, because like people around me were wrestling fans, is over time they started developing these storylines better. So even in battle rap, like if you watch battle rap a lot, there are storylines behind it. There are rivalries, there are coalitions, there are different battle leagues that don't fuck with other leagues. You over there, I don't know what's going on upstairs. She's crazy. But I think me watching battle rap as intensely as I do now made me respect that more, because there's a skill aspect. So I forgot my original question, but I guess what I want to really know is, you were talking about audibles. Yeah, that's what you're talking about. So how do you communicate that to each other? Like, how do you, so I'm watching, right?
Yeah.
Dude slammed you. Shit didn't go well, right?
Yeah.
You guys, I don't know how you know the
just tell
performance
them.
or what's going, okay.
Just tell them.
So that
Some
y'all do a
point, like,
clinch.
yo, bro.
You do a clinch.
yeah,
and
I
it's
just
like,
tell them like, dude, we gotta go.
Yeah.
This match ain't gonna make it. You gotta let them know, because that's also your brother.
Yeah.
You know, and he's there to take care of you.
Yeah.
You know, that's also because you got to think about it, man. Like, it's us against the world in there. We got to entertain everybody. It's like when you're on stage, you got to entertain people, and sometimes like you may not have the best night, but at the same time, you got to keep feeding the people. But you got to remember, I'm a person, and I got to wake up tomorrow.
Yeah.
So you got to communicate that with your brother that's out there on the field, because it's not like the Steelers versus the Ravens.
Yeah.
It's the Steelers versus the crowd.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
You know what I
It's
mean?
like exactly.
You gotta let them know, like, bro.
That's like with sometimes like with the Cavs or whatever, I'd be like, man, I just smoked this blunt, so I'm probably gonna be tapped out for a minute. You know what I mean? And Ed will carry that.
he ain't
you know what
heavy.
I mean?
He's my brother.
Yeah. You know what I mean? No, that's great. So, I just like, cause now that I'm talking and like I'm like geeking out, cause I don't get to talk about wrestling much. Whatever.
Yeah, there you
like,
go.
so
Niggas like, who are we booking? I'm like, trust me. Like, I booked them, but you guys are probably gonna have a better conversation. I don't watch wrestling, so I'm just gonna probably sit here.
because my first like memory of wrestling, like my earliest memory was pay-per-view, and it was Hulk Hogan versus Andre the Giant. And this was back, I mean, some like late 80s or whatever, when he like picked, like, it was the first time anybody had ever slammed Andre, because it was Andre the Giant.
Semi-slammed too.
Yeah, he
like-
only got him up like halfway.
Yeah.
And then but that was the most anybody had ever done. It was Andre the Giant.
And it was awesome.
And it was, oh my God, I can't believe it. Because we didn't know, like, as a kid, I'm like, you just expected Andre, because this is before Hulk Hogan was Hulk Hogan.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
Hulk Hogan was just starting to make a name for himself, and it was like putting up two champions together, like, yeah, I mean, because nowadays with wrestling, like with the professional wrestling, like, you get more, bigger names competing, like even on a Monday Night Raw or whatever. Like back then, like Hulk Hogan, you would only see him or Andre the Giant like at the main events, like the big events. This is before it was on every Monday night. You know what I mean?
But it's,
So
again, like battle rap, like you don't see motherfuckers on the undercards. You see them when they do Gnome 5, Gnome 9 main
You
events.
had to wait for
like that.
WrestleMania to see Andre the Giant. He wasn't going to be there, and if you did see him, you just knew he was going to win because he was. Yeah, I mean,
because he's the Giant.
Yeah. So that was the first. Like that was like my like introduction, my love. Like, what was your first moment? Like, in the wrestling. Like, what was your biggest moment?
Man, I like Hulk Hogan, but let me tell you, as a kid growing up in the South, Virginia, we're the South, we didn't get a chance to see a lot of Hulk Hogan unless you had cable.
Yeah.
If you didn't have cable, you was watching NWA. At the time, it's called NWA.
Yeah.
People know it now.
Sting and them.
Right, WCW.
WCW, yeah.
The first time I ever seen Ric Flair.
Woo! Ha!
The first time I ever seen Ric Flair, he was cutting a promo and he was bloodied.
Yeah.
And he had just fought the Great Muta. And he was bloody and he had green mist on his face. And I
he would spit that shit.
Yeah,
like,
spit that shit
that
in
was
his face.
Yeah.
And man, I remember watching, and I was like freaked out and scared. I was freaked out because I was like never seen blood mixed with green mess. And he had green gunk on his face.
Yeah.
And he was going bananas. He was just talking all this
wheeling,
shit.
dealing,
But he was
Rick
still
deals,
right.
yeah.
He was still in that mode right after his match, and I was like, "Yo, this guy's crazy." And I remember looking, just watching his facial expressions. He was in because when Ric Flair cuts a promo, his eyes are like big as Bart Simpson.
Yeah, they is.
They're huge and they're like intense.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I remember
One
when
of the best shit talkers in all of the game, man.
best, man. I remember my grandma, she set me down. We watched wrestling, and she was a wrestling fan.
Yeah.
And to this day, she's a wrestling fan. And watching that with her, and then also I was definitely afraid of the Road Warriors.
Oh, Animal and Hawk?
I was definitely afraid of these guys
Ooh, I used to
because
love those
I thought they
yo.
would come through the TV and kill me.
I don't know who these people are. I'm very excited
Road
at how
Warrior, Animal
excited
and
they got.
Yeah, they had the spikes or whatever. And I remember in one of the matches, they actually like stuck that in somebody's eye or whatever. And I don't think they actually, like they could have, but like
Yeah,
in the match, they had like stuck
Dusty
one
Rhodes.
of them.
It was against Dusty
Dusty Rhodes. Yeah, it was. Yeah,
it
they
was
put it in his
Dusty
eye.
Rhodes. And the thing about Dusty, like he had that talk, man, that brother, that hard times. He had that talk, you know what I mean? And
That's Southern, yeah.
that twang, and you as a kid, man, is like certain things that that just resonated with me as far as like growing through life. I never forgot about wrestling.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I always remember this is what I love to. This is what I love to watch. This is what I love. Period. And that's what I want to do. But first I watched Ric Flair versus Great Muta, and I remember watching that match and seeing those stuff because Ric Flair never had great. He didn't have any moves.
Yeah, he wasn't big, like flashy
He
and
wasn't a
like on the
move
top
guy.
or whatever. Yeah, I mean, like
He had the chops.
yo, he would chop.
He
you.
would do a
They
chop.
do the chop back and forth like 30 times.
He would do the woo, and that would last 30 seconds to 60 seconds of that.
Yeah.
And he would do the knee drop. He'll take his
Yeah,
knee
yeah,
pad
yeah.
down, do the knee drop, and then he would get his ass beat.
Yeah.
The rest of the match.
Yeah, because he would do the strut.
The strut.
Yeah, yo, that strut, man. He would get
had
it.
to get the strut
and then
in.
he would get the drop to the knee,
Drop to
and
the
you'd be
knee.
like, oh, he might be down, he might be in.
And he go for the pin. They kick out. After that, they do whatever, and then they just beat his ass rest of the match. He always went to the top rope, but I remember I've never seen him hit the top rope. He always go to the top rope and he always gets slammed off.
Yeah.
And I remember, like, as a kid, seeing him, like, why does he go to the top rope? It never works. He's going to slam him. And he slammed him. And I'm, like, pissed, like, no. You know what I mean? I'm upset and I'm going crazy. My grandma's laughing at me. She's like, she likes watching me just go crazy. We'll
Did she
both
know?
go crazy.
Did she know then?
Well, I think
she knew.
Every adult
person
at some point
who's
knows.
Every adult at some
Yeah.
point.
certain
Yeah.
level of maturity understand.
She
Yeah.
knew.
Because
Like,
at
come
that
on.
point, younger, like again, like so I was never into wrestling, but I had a lot of friends into it. And me being younger, I'm kind of an asshole in the sense that I'm always trying to be the dude who's like, that shit ain't real. Like that shit. I mean, so with wrestling, everybody was all into wrestling. I'm like, that shit fake, man. Fuck that. But what I always respected around the time I was like going into middle school, high school, like elementary going into middle school, that's when motherfuckers started to click up. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
That's when they had
yep,
Triple
yep.
H and niggas was clicking up.
Yeah.
I could always respect that because you come from the hood, you see cliques, like you got your gangs, so to speak. Like I'm not from a gang neighborhood, but
The
basically
streets.
Well,
Yeah.
when you come from small
Hoods. I
inner
mean,
cities,
that's what-
it's your neighborhood.
Everybody heard,
Right.
whether it was a
They
block,
click
whether
up.
it's a
It's,
neighborhood,
you got
whether it's a
Sauce, the
gang.
Ave, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
You got
yeah.
all that. So I respected the click up part of it, and it was cool to see that manifest itself in a way that motherfuckers was getting money, and nationally people was like loving it, but I couldn't get past the fact that I'm like, yo, this shit gotta be fake. Like niggas is getting slammed on their head. Like I remember, I see fights where motherfucker take one punch and he's done for the fight. Like he's getting slammed on his head and getting up. Dudes with these slow ass slapping a dude on the chest. Like you slapping a nigga on his chest. So I would now that I'm a comedian, I get that's filler. Like a motherfucker gets
Yeah.
slapped on his
Yeah.
chest. That's filler.
I think it was for me. Like I was always a kid. I never believed in Santa. I never believed in Easter Bunny. Like I was one of those dudes that just like
man.
I was on that vein with you where it was like, you know, and my mom pulled me to the side and was like, you better not fucking tell your sister that Santa ain't real. Like, yeah, you know what I mean, like
My mom played the part well. She was like, "No, Santa's real," but everybody knew Mama was Santa.
I like, nah, mom ain't, you know, like the Santa ain't real or whatever. But like wrestling was one of those few things where like I just bought into
invested
it.
in it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I like, you know what I mean. So
It
like,
gets you to invest. I'll say that.
Yeah,
It
I
will
mean,
get
like,
you,
it
once
just-
you win, you win.
Yeah, once you into a storyline or a character, once you figure out your favorite and that's your guy,
yeah.
it does even in comedy.
Yeah.
Like, you ride your guy out.
Yeah, and
You know what I
honestly,
mean?
like that whole shit talk at me because Mean Gene Okerlund, them interviews with Mean Gene,
Right.
and like you know with like you know, and all my favorite wrestlers were the motherfuckers that talk the best shit. Like you look at Ric Flair and all them, yeah, I mean, like and in the black culture, talking shit is a thing. We love that
you
shit.
gotta be you gotta be surgical with that shit.
Yeah, you gotta like rap the braggadocio. I mean, like what we do, like that is
How you walk.
like the strut. I mean, and like
you could be a lame based on your walk.
yeah.
Oh, he's a lame. Like,
Dude. So like I got watching these like wrestlers, you know, and like I kind of emulated some of that just that like that confidence of like, you know, and like, you know, get on and I'm a, you know, and it was like for me as a kid growing up watching that shit was like, yeah, you know, so like now I just want to touch on go on a different vein. Okay. Now we've got. Notoriously, the professional wrestling has been billed as racist. You know, in the way that they, you know, promote black characters, you know, stereotypes.
Yeah,
and the
because the
whole
New
nine.
Day niggas is coons.
Yeah,
Can I
mean,
say that?
Not even like the new black.
No,
like,
I don't know about no other
It's your
shit.
show. You
But
can say whatever
New
you
Day,
want.
because I go to open mics and they be having WW whatever the fuck, and these New Day coons with the saxophones and pink shit. Yo, I want to say fuck you guys, but I feel like he's gonna say something that's gonna make me be like, all right, fuck
I mean,
fuck
like,
you guys
if you
until
look at
other notice.
If you look at minorities, they were always stereotypes. Yeah, I mean, like, and then you know there wasn't a black champion for quite some time. You know what I mean, like, and
who was the first black champion?
The first black champion
Was it The Rock?
Actually,
Is he
no.
black?
The first black champion was actually Ron Simmons. He was the actual.
that
He
guy
was
before.
actually, and people
His
could go back.
name was
further.
Ron Simmons?
Ron
His
Simmons,
wrestling name?
Yeah, Ron Simmons was
how the
actual,
fuck
and
he-
he's also in the Hall of Fame before the State University.
I was gonna say he sound like a Cincinnati Bengals wide receiver.
He actually, I think he went to Ron Simmons. Played,
Ron
I'm not
Simmons.
sure he played for. He went to the league. I think he went to
Yeah,
Kansas
he played for
City
the
Chiefs.
Bengals. He probably
played for the
number
Bengals.
86, caught a bunch of slants. Like Ron Simmons sound like a motherfucker who
but
had a good 2-year run.
he was the first really ever black champion.
yeah, and then you have like The Rock, and then, like did Booker T get it?
Booker T got it.
Yeah, I
Booker T
mean,
got
like,
it.
and
Yep.
like you know, and like
Who was Booker T?
Booker T?
the
He was
big, tall black
Harlem
dude.
Harlem Heat when like they had the
Very
dreads.
athletic and very huge.
Yeah, the huge two black dudes or whatever. And like, yeah,
So
I mean,
who's the other black dude?
Stevie Ray,
yeah.
his brother,
on,
his
man.
legit
Stevie
brother.
Ray,
Stevie
Booker
Ray.
T.
Stevie
They
Ray,
both sound
Booker
like they
T.
produce for Bad
That's
Boys.
their real names. Though. That's their thing about it. That's
Booker
their,
T on
that's
the
his,
track.
That's his real name. His real name is Booker T. He had no choice.
Book T on the track. Hey,
That was his stage name. Like you grew up with it.
this
his
was
real
born
name.
into that shit. Who the
But, like-
fuck named they son Booker?
I mean, you
Hey,
got
yo,
Booker T.
like,
Washington.
when he won that championship, what was he like 40 maybe? Like his late 30s.
Close, late 30s.
Yeah, I mean,
30s,
like
yeah.
so he
was
grew
in
up
the game.
That.
He was in the game by then. 15, about close to 15.
Oh, he was in the
years.
game for a while. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And like, and that's the thing is
He
that
came
like,
out of jail into that.
yeah.
Oh, he was
that
like the original Kimbo.
Yeah, he was in jail. He went to
He's the
jail.
original
He
Kimbo
came out
Slice.
and he was like, "I need to do something."
What did Booker T go to jail for? Like
I can't remember. I think it was
not
armed robbery.
not knowing how to read. Like
think it was armed robbery.
It ain't
It was armed-
Booker, dog. You
Yeah.
you civil rights sentences. Like he went to jail for vagrancy. Like Booker T.
loitering.
Come here. You're walking down the street.
Booker.
So like, because you have like again, you know, you have this like background or whatever with the industry, and like like you saw, like you said, Ron Simmons or whatever.
Yeah.
Then The Rock came in, and The Rock was very ambiguous, so it was a little easier, whatever. Booker T got it, and like that was like for me, and that's why like I remember Booker T because it was like huge. It was like for me, it was like the first like black dude, not like ambiguous black dude, but like
Hulk Hogan would get you.
Yeah, he said nigga on.
Yeah.
It was a viral where he accidentally said nigga
in a real promo.
Was it Mean Gene? He was with Mean Gene,
so
he was hype and he said nigga, and then he had to like
cut it out.
Yeah,
he had the dread braids.
Yeah, the dreads.
He had the braid, the
singles
singles that kind of looked like nappy dreads, but they were actually braid. Okay,
Yeah.
You're thinking that's quick. That's
I'm thinking it's Booker T used to
Booker
wear
T
black
actually had
and he
dreads.
was
Booker
big.
T and
Yeah,
Stevie
So
Ray
they were really
two-
skinny dreads?
They were skinny
They look like
dreads. He
dread
still got 'em.
braids.
He still got 'em.
got it? You got to let him go.
Yeah.
Come on home, Booker T.
Yeah, like and then, like when Booker
It
T
ain't Booker,
got it.
fam. You need to go ahead, get you get you the one blade, shape it up. Come on, Booker.
Yeah, like Booker T is either like a white politician or a black slave.
I don't know
Those are the
no
only
white
two.
Bookers, fam. I only know one Booker.
Bookers were those are the
Other
history
than this
Bookers.
Booker we're talking about. Like,
Booker T. Washington.
yeah, there are only two Bookers, and both of them are Booker T's. Like, ain't no Booker S.
Only Booker we acknowledge is Washington.
Only Booker we acknowledge is Washington.
Dude. But like, yeah, I mean, that was like a huge thing. Like when he got that, it was like he's not, like because I like Ron said, like I like that's the first that I'm knowing of or whatever, and maybe I forgot about it or whatever. But like a mainstream, especially at that time, you know what I mean, because like he got it like in the aughts. You know what I mean? Like when it was huge, it was like syndicated, it was everywhere.
Pay-per-view.
Yeah, pay-per-views. You know what I mean? This was every week. Monday Night Raw was a thing. The Rock had already come through or whatever, did his thing.
Yeah.
And now you got Booker T, and it was like, and it was like, this is the first like black, like, because before that, you had Virgil. You know what I mean? Like
Killers.
Super black. I don't know who Virgil
Yeah, like,
is.
it was Virgil. He was the $1 million man's like.
He was the
side
do boy.
dude. Yeah,
He was
like
a do boy. He's actually from Pittsburgh too.
he is from Pittsburgh.
Yeah,
I know. I
he's
actually
actually
followed
from
him on Twitter or whatever. You know what I mean,
I met him before.
Oh, you have,
Yeah, I've
man?
met
Yeah,
him.
he's. I follow him on Twitter. He's like a cool ass dude. You know what I mean?
Very
Like,
interesting guy.
But that
Feel
was
like
one
that.
of the first, like as a kid growing up. Like Virgil was one of the first dudes that I like was like, oh, that's somebody like me. Like he's a black dude on there or whatever. You know what I mean? That wasn't like crazy. Like you had the who was the old boy? Like I think it was you with the African dude.
Talking about Gonda.
He's Gonda, Gonda or whatever.
The Gonda giant.
The Gonda giant. Like he had like the whole like African. He would come in. He had the skulls or whatever. I'm like,
That's some bullshit.
Yeah, like that.
I don't even know this motherfucker and I'm mad.
Yeah, like who's doing this? Like even as a kid, I'm
Comma,
like,
Comma the Gonda giant. That's his name. Comma.
Yeah, Comma. Yeah. I mean, but like Booker, like Virgil was at least a little. You know what I mean? But I didn't really fully realize until I grew up, and I was like, oh man, they really had him. He was really like the butler. He was like driving
really
this Daisy type dude.
Word.
But then Booker T got the belt, and like because Rock got it, and it was like, but what is Rock? Like, is he black? Is he? Well,
Still don't know.
You don't know. But Booker T got it. I was like,
Name's
holy
Dwayne.
fuck.
though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
His name is Dwayne. You
Yeah.
can't fade it. Your
Well,
name is
that
Dwayne,
that definitely
baby.
had to come from his
Your name is
dad or whatever.
Dwayne.
Yeah.
Your name is Dwayne Johnson. Don't you ever forget that.
Yeah, true.
Your name is Dwayne Johnson. Shout out to Dwayne. Shout out to
like,
Dwayne.
That was, and then it sparked this whole conversation and even an awareness that, like, like this whole racial thing or whatever.
Only
You know
been
what I mean?
3.
So, like, have you seen that? Like, what is your views on that?
As far as like, I would say this: like, the world is very racist.
Yes, yeah.
The world is very racist. So you got to understand when you're talking about like on a indie level where I come from, they look at it as like you see me, I'm 6'5", I'm taller than everybody there, I'm an imposing figure. Of course, I'm gonna have to be not the bad guy, but more because I'm dark skinned, darker. In theory,
You got dreads.
and I got dreads,
Yeah.
and I really don't smile a lot there. You know what I mean? So they're like, well, he has to be a menacing, beast of a man. So we gotta make him a monster.
Yeah.
Now and people say like, why can't you be like a Shawn Michaels of it? And I'm like, well, we're in a theory. You gotta think about it. Kids that come to these shows and what they see on TV of a black guy is him being like a big imposing figure.
Mm.
So in that retrospect, it is very racial. On that hand. Other hand is like what you expect. You know what I mean? We're not the majority. We're still a minority in this field.
Mm.
So I would say it's racist. Like in certain aspects, it is. In certain aspects, though, it's beneficial for it because if it wasn't, I wouldn't. Like certain people wouldn't get in a certain push that they do.
Yeah, I mean, like you get your positions,
You gotta
based
get in.
on, where it is or whatever. You got to get in where you fit in. You know what I mean? Like, so
it
I
happens
get
with
that.
comedy too.
Yeah, I mean,
you become the really and I won't say this for your field, but what happens in comedy a lot of times, especially in a city like Pittsburgh, you become the go-to black comedian. It is.
Yeah,
I mean, like it's like people like we need a black guy on the show. I'm gonna book Ed, or it'd be good to have a black guy here. Let's book Ed.
Yeah,
you know what I mean, and it's just like all right, you know what I mean, and then what'll happen is, you'll go to a certain guy. If he's not available, you'll go to the next black guy. You know what I mean? Like, Day and I never get offered spots that were originally offered to a white person. It's like originally offered to a black person. They couldn't make it. It's like, yo, Ed, are you available on Saturday? Like, nah, I'm already booked.
I would say this, though, man. At where I'm at with at PWX in McKeesport, I got to plug them, man, because they're doing a great job out there. What they do, man, because honestly, when I came there, the reason why I was so into coming there because other than the lineage, they trained Kurt Angle at his beginning stages. They trained Kurt Angle.
Oh, that's what's up.
There, my trainer that trains me, Brandon K, he trained Kurt Angle.
Oh, that's what's up.
Legit, and I met Kurt Angle.
Yeah.
So it was like, this is why I'm coming here. Plus, at the time, they had a black heavyweight champion, and unfortunately, he has to face me November 19th. But I saw it and I was like, this is different because you don't see that everywhere.
Yeah.
So they had a black champion that wasn't like your stereotypical beast of a black guy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But
was he like a Rey
Huh?
Mysterio black?
No, he has dreads and everything, but he's light
I'm
skin.
talking about
light skin, but he's more.
I said Rey Mysterio black in the sense of
Rey Mysterio is like-
athleticism. I don't have the library of fucking wrestlers that you do. So there's Ric Flair with swag. Ric Flair with swag. Rey Mysterio, because all my wrestlers I know off video games. So like I got I would if you wanted to pick the quick guy who could do the weird shit where he goes off the ropes and fucking grabs your head with his legs and slams Rey Mysterio. If you wanted like just a super strong motherfucker, you'd either pick the Undertaker or who's that other big 6'5" white dude who just
Big Show.
Big Show.
Yeah,
Big Show,
You know what I mean? Like you like if you don't watch wrestling, which I feel like I'm excited about this episode because there's gonna be a lot of people who just love the references you made. And there's gonna be a lot of people like me who are like casually into it. Like so when you play wrestling video games, you like, what do I want to do? I'm not quick with my fingers, right? So I can't do Rey Mysterio. So I gotta get a motherfucker where if you get too close, I'ma slam you in that little that energy bar.
energy bar.
You're gonna lose a quarter of that energy.
You trying to win the game.
Because I done threw you through the earth, man. Like, this nigga slam hard. Pause. Like, that's how I see this shit. Like I've grown to respect it more being in entertainment myself and just understanding like what you guys put into. Because like for an entertainer, you respect more what motherfuckers put into it than what happens on stage. Because everything that happens on stage, you know what I mean, and the wrestling ring happens to be your stage, but fine, that happens. That could be virtue of repetition and understanding. But what work did you put in before? Like, as a comedian, you love motherfuckers who can improv. You know what I mean? Because you know for a fact they didn't just work on it. Like, that came organically from reading the crowd, reading an individual.
Yeah. Right.
And I guess with these guys who do like the large WrestleManias that go for an hour, there's going to be 7 minutes of just, we got to keep this entertaining, reserve our bodies, get our energy back up, but keep it where it's like it looks like it's us really trying to take each other's head off. But meanwhile, as you kind of, that's your bro in the ring. Like, we're working together. Like, this is a show.
Yeah.
Which brings me to my question. And you don't have to answer this, but I need to know. How do you know who's gonna win? Like, I just like being an amateur. I don't like. Let's say Day and I are both amateur wrestlers, right? We're both vying. We're trying to get popping. How do you get someone to be like, all right, I'm gonna let Day beat me in this match? Like, I feel like I would never want Day to beat me. Like, I don't give a fuck what his moves are. Like, I don't want to take the L. Now, there are certain dudes like some Shorty, my wifey said this, and it made a lot of sense. It's like, all right, so in comedy, there are people who are really good at certain things. There might be good dudes who are good at taking L's. Like, some dudes who take L's where some people get slammed well. Like, is that a thing? Like, how do you know who's going to, like, as you, Duke Davis, I'm sure you want to be undefeated. but that maybe that doesn't fit the storyline or whatever's going on. Like maybe you can't be undefeated.
So I'm gonna answer this on. I'm gonna also answer a question you talked about the New Day. So I'm gonna hit all fronts.
So fuck New Day until you say something otherwise.
Yeah.
Fuck them.
So I'm gonna hit all fronts real quick. So I want to go back to when you said the New Day are like coons.
They are.
Do you probably don't remember? Maybe you do. Do you remember the Fabulous Freebirds?
Michael Hayes, an old Harlem.
Michael Hayes, yeah.
Sound like
P.S.
an old
Hayes.
Harlem rap
Were they
quartet.
WCW?
There was WCW. They also came to
Fabulous
WWF. At the time, it was WWF.
Yeah.
They did come over. The thing about the New Day, they are the New Age Outlaws.
Yeah.
So the New Age Outlaws, they are the New Age Outlaws. New Age
The
Outlaws is just a
New Day. Are those the motherfuckers with the cereal?
Yeah, with the Bootios.
The Bootios, yeah.
So
listen to this
there's
bullshit.
definitely some Cooney.
They're
Yeah, they are.
coons.
I saw it. I was like,
Get your money, fam, but
yeah.
you a coon.
On the one hand, though, they cut their promos on the way to the ring, just like their predecessors, like the Fabulous Freebirds did. It's like the New Age Outlaws did. They cut their promos on the way to the ring.
because the Freebirds were a trio too.
Right.
Yeah.
So the New Age Outlaws did that. New Age Outlaws also picked that up from Harlem Heat. Harlem Heat were the first ones because they didn't give them promo time. They had to cut their promos. They had to talk on the way to the ring. A lot of times people didn't know the fact that Harlem Heat never had interviews because they're
Because
black.
Booker T was saying nigga.
Right. So they had to cut their promos. They had to say what they're about to do to this person. They had to get over what we call getting the crowd into it on the way to the ring.
Okay.
Because I mean,
So-
when you say they didn't have interviews, because I remember Booker T
Yeah. But at
talking,
the time,
but it was just into the going
all
in.
the way going to the ring. When they were Harlem Heat, they didn't have it. They weren't
Well,
allowed time.
Yeah, well, all right. So I'm thinking of Harlem Heat, and I guess that's what it is because like they became popular.
They became
and they
popular,
were
yeah.
like because they started out as those dudes that you knew were going to lose because you didn't like they were just facing whoever was the big dude there. So
Right,
they might have
right.
came out with the Road Warriors, whoever like you know what I mean the stage, and it was like coming to the stage Harlem Heat. And it was like who the fuck is Harlem Heat?
Right.
You know what I mean? And you knew they were going to lose because you didn't know who the fuck they were.
So they used to come in. When they came in, they said whatever they was gonna say, got the crowd to boo them or whatever
Yeah.
on the way in. And that's how they got popular.
Yeah.
And that's how they got more time in the ring. That's how they got the chance to become tag team champions.
So were the interviews because I guess what Ed is saying because like from my understanding the way you build popularity is through the crowd, right?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
and that's how like you get that win or you get those continue because the crowd wants to see more of you. So you either become a heel or
Right.
you become a hero or whatever,
Right.
and people want to see more of you or whatever. So like. How do you get that? And when you say like the interviews, are those so those aren't scripted interviews? That's your time to kind of shine.
That's your time to shine.
Yeah.
So the interviews are, hey, go out there and say this, hit these points, boom, boom, boom. But it's not a script. It's whatever you say at
So
that
it's your
point.
personality shine.
So it's you got to get over.
Your stage presence.
You got to have a stage. You got to have the awareness to know what to do and why you're out there and who you are in your character. So when as far as like who's gonna, and it's based on this because you never want to have a champion in my eyes that's not popular to the masses. People boo Roman Reigns a lot. People cheer Roman Reigns even more. The thing is, he's always gonna have his spot because of that, and it's hard for him to quote unquote go, to quote unquote do whatever, like to lose because people want to see Roman Reigns.
Yeah.
They want to see him out there. Now, wins and losses, and in the matter of wrestling, like man, I don't care. My thing is, I want to go out there. I just want to destroy somebody. I want to go out there and destroy somebody. It had to have been in the ring, outside the ring, whatever. And I want the fans to understand, I'm not here to win or lose. I'm here to destroy.
Yeah.
Period. Duke Davis is not here to win or lose. He don't care. He's here to hurt people and leave. They want to give me a belt, fine. But on the way to the ring, that's how I'm winning.
Nice.
Now, as far as like how it's determined, I don't know because I don't book. I'm not a booker. I don't handle that side of it. But I do know if if the fans are not responding to you,
You're gonna lose.
Yeah, eventually you
You there to get slammed.
like if
How
the
would
fans have to
Can you
respond to
tell
you.
in the booking questions like, so can you take a suplex? Like, is that how they ask motherfuckers gonna lose? Like, we need him to come off the top rope. How proficient are you in the top rope?
You're gonna have to take a boot to the face or something. Like, you know, like for me, like in that realm of like, because you're a wrestler. I could take whatever move. I can almost do any under the sun move that's in my wheelhouse. I could do a lot of stuff in the ring. But the thing about it is what the fans want to see. So the fans want to see me get my ass whooped, I'm gonna get my ass whooped today. But if the fans want to see me kill somebody, I'm gonna kill somebody.
I can't just be getting my ass whooped. Like,
Oh, see, that's that's because it's pride, man. You gotta let that go, man.
It's
like,
all honestly.
I don't,
it comes
because
out
I don't
that,
wrestle.
like, hubris will be your downfall.
I don't wrestle,
man.
so I don't have to get my ass
You
whooped.
do. You
I
got,
don't have
even
to get my ass
even in
whooped.
entertainment, man. You like hubris.
I
You
don't
gotta
have to get my
gotta
ass whooped in
swallow that, man.
entertainment. I
Yo,
can go out
Ben
there
Affleck,
and be funny.
Ben Affleck, I hate fucking
He's
Ben Affleck.
white.
He's a
He's a
terrible,
young,
he's a terrible
attractive
fucking actor.
white
I
dude.
can't stand that
Pause.
fucking
That
dude.
doesn't count.
Yeah, I can't.
It doesn't
no,
count.
It does count.
If you're a young,
It
attractive
does.
white dude, fam, you're gonna just by virtue
There's
of
a
being
lot
a young, attractive
There's a
white
lot of
dude.
attractive white dudes. There's a lot of
Not a lot of them are
attractive, rich
acting
white
or
dudes.
Ben Affleck. You
I
know
got
what
you.
I'm saying?
But the thing about Ben Affleck is he's not a very good actor. I fucking hate that.
So
dude.
then
I've
what
always
is
hated
it?
it.
He gets
It's
some
his
cool ass
face.
roles.
Here's the thing that because I hate Ben Affleck, but he won an Oscar, and I was like, how the fuck?
For what?
For some movie he did with George Clooney, director, whatever the fuck. He's on the
Okay.
stage. Anyway, he got to the Oscar, right? And I'm sitting there watching him because I can't fucking stand Ben Affleck. How the fuck is Ben Affleck sitting there on this goddamn stage? Like, I fucking hate it. I don't even watch this award shows all like that, right?
Yeah.
I just happen to be in the room and I happen to watch this, whatever, he won best movie or whatever. And he's sitting there and he does his speech. And in this speech he says, one of the things that I learned in this business, you can't hold grudges. Can't hold grudges. Can't hold grudges. You can't hold grudges. You know what I mean? And like, and just that, like, and he gave, he said some other shit or whatever. And like, and that right there is like, in this business, in the entertainment, there's a lot of ego. We have a lot of pride. And like, people hurt that pride as an artist, as an entertainer, as what we do. It's easy to hurt that pride because we want, like, you know what I mean? Like, it is what we do. And oftentimes we burn bridges. It's like, oh, you don't understand my greatness? Fuck you. We burn a bridge. That's a bridge you can't cross anymore.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Especially when you're a come up. So like sometimes it takes you know what? All right, you know what I mean? Like you can't take that as, you know what I mean, what it is. Maybe you just gotta go, you know what, that's cool. I'm gonna let that ride. Like I want because there's and I'm already a fiery dude. So you don't know me yet. I will burn a bridge. Like if I really feel like fuck you, I'll do it. But there's some people that I work with. I'm like, you know what? I might not like what you're doing. I might not like respect the fact, like, because you ain't seen what I'm doing or whatever.
Right.
But I'm not gonna come out and just burn this shit because maybe later in life I'm gonna need that. And that is swallowing your pride and your ego.
So can I respond? I'll start my response by saying, and I'll start on a positive note. That's a dope hat you have on. I was looking at the gray play on the leather, even though it says Pittsburgh Steelers. That's dope. Everything you just said was bullshit, though. And let me tell you what. I don't give a fuck about Ben Affleck getting on the Oscar saying you can't hold grudges. I don't give what is he holding a grudge about? His lack of being a good actor. Now, what I'll say about Ben Affleck is when if Ben Affleck has to play a ditzy, dopey role of just like a dude who's good to look at but has no substance, I'm sure he can play that.
He's not a good
like he
actor.
played that in that movie with Jennifer Aniston or whatever. Where
Every
he was the
movie
boyfriend.
that he was in,
but whatever
he was
the
fucking
fuck,
terrible.
you know what I'm saying?
Fuck Ben Affleck.
But again, I just you telling me I gotta lose? That's I mean,
Whoa.
as a man,
You're
that's
not
gotta be a
losing.
tough pill to swallow.
But
and that
you're
has
not
nothing
losing.
to do with I don't think it has anything to do with pride. I think since I do
that's all
not
it is.
pride.
That's all
You
it
hear that?
is.
no, here's why I say it's
Hear
not
You're not
pride.
being able to lose.
That's
Here's-
pride.
here's
Fuck
why-
you.
here's
That's
why-
all. That's the definition
But
of pride.
here's why I say that's not a matter of pride. Here's why I say that.
Okay.
And I'll defer to Duke for this because you're an asshole. So again, I'm coming from the perspective of a man who I view wrestling as two dudes fighting. He is a professional wrestler. He understands that these are two dudes putting on a show. If I lose well as a part of like we went and saw Hand to God, shout out to City Theater.
Yeah.
The dude who had the puppet on his hand, he lost for most of that fucking play. But in losing, he enhanced the play because of his function of the play.
There it is.
So in wrestling, I assume the loss itself is a part of a bigger scope of the entertainment. And in doing so, I don't want to say in losing well, but in playing your part well, which resonates across all industries, especially artistic, in playing your part well, there is opportunity to be had from that. So I respect that. Again, my question was, and I guess you don't have to answer who loses, but I just get intrigued by the fact that, okay, you're going to come into a match. You got two dudes, especially on the indie level, who are trying to advance. Now, yeah, you got to understand it's got to be a good show, this, that, and third. Yeah. But you don't, I mean, from what I understand, you don't know if Duke Davis is going to stand with his hand up as the winner or if West Bumblefuck John is going to win. Yeah. And I think it adds to my respect for the actual match. If the case is that you don't know who's going to win, you guys then have to work in unison for the show. And then at some point, there's an agreement that this guy won. Or is it just like, I'm physically tapped out, so I'm not going to kick out on this 1, 2, 3? Is it? And you don't have to answer, but from my perspective, that's super.
Just to save, because I don't want I don't want him to bite the bullet. It is predetermined. You know what I mean? But the thing is that when you
But you don't know how then.
Yeah, and the how, and then so the how.
That's the bigger realm.
Yeah, that's what my question was.
That is
how you because
and that is why
because it being predetermined,
and that's why it's such an entertainment because all of that shit that you see is a choreographed. Like I love martial arts. I love that the Bruce Lees and the Jackie Chan's or whatever. That's all choreographed.
Yeah,
that's all predetermined. But the moves that they do
are still dope.
Fucking phenomenal.
Right,
and I watch that.
But here's the thing: it takes a certain level of maturity again to understand that about wrestling. So if you haven't been into wrestling, you're gonna be like, it's funny that wrestling gets that stigma, like, oh, this shit is fake, this, that, and the third. But when you really sit down and think about it, a lot nigga, I watched Rush Hour with Chris Tucker. He can't beat up not one fucking Japanese, Chinese dude who really know karate. You know what I'm saying? Like, he ain't winning that fight. You know what I mean? But the understanding of the scope of what he's doing, I know it's acting. And I think what messes it up with wrestling is it's not acting. It's really a skill that people can't quantify because there's so much violence. People are like, well, the violence is fake. Yeah, okay, fine. The angst between the two, probably not real. Like, you probably don't hate this dude that you're facing on the 19th. You probably don't hate him. But the shit you got to execute, that's real. Yeah. That's really my body doing that flip. Yeah. That's really me.
That's real blood.
Well, here's the like Duke Davis, the character itself, when I am in, because my nickname is by birth is Duke.
Really? Because I've only known you as VA, and real niggas listening know VA, and we're not gonna go into that, but we know VA.
Yeah, VA. Like I say, I have split personalities.
Are you from Virginia?
Yeah.
Originally. So Pusha T.
Yeah.
And then
I'm from Virginia, where ain't shit to do but cook.
Pusha T and Ric Flair.
Sell it triple price, fuck the books, where we relocate.
These are the people that kind of shaped who I am.
Well, I'm like Pusha T, the rapper or whatever, he's a big fan of Ric Flair.
Pusha T is.
So
we dropping a lot of names tonight.
Clips ain't a wrestling tandem. I know who they are.
When you said Ric Flair, the first thing I thought of was Pusha T because his blue and the whole. Is Ric Flair from Virginia?
Nah, Ric Flair is originally from Minneapolis.
Minneapolis? Oh,
but
shit. He carries himself with that southern swag.
Yeah, he adopted that because that's where he trained. He trained in Minnesota and he moved to the Georgia, North Carolina area because that's where they did the most wrestling TVs at. And Virginia because they went to Norfolk a lot. They didn't go too much north from there. They went a little bit west, but not too much north from Norfolk.
Yeah, I always thought he was a Southern dude. You know what I mean? Just the way the swag.
Because he knows his money.
Yeah.
That's a huge. Can we say that on this podcast, one of the top 3 quotes, influential quotes, is "Know your money."
Know your money.
Know your money, fam.
Know your money. And for Duke Davis, for me to have to push him through because, like I say, he's another part of who I am. So I have to push him through. Duke Davis is, when he goes to the ring, like I said, he doesn't care about winning or losing. He cares about hurting people and then going back.
So where does that part of you come from?
That part comes from a little dark place.
Okay.
A very dark place that we call in my family called 35th Street. A very dark place in Norfolk Park Place.
35th
So
Street.
it was one of those. It was one of those places where it was just like a lot of stuff happened, and you have to, you fend for yourself, but at the same time you have family there. But you have to learn. You cross that street, you by yourself.
Yeah,
You know what I mean, and that's what Duke
crazy.
Davis is created from.
Yeah,
And in wrestling, like you said, like in wrestling, like when he goes there to the ring, he's not thinking about winning or losing. That he can lose, he can win, but he wants to show you that he's only here to hurt people.
Well, when you coming up and you get into that scuffle, like it's really just you
I
ain't winning
like-
on style points.
Yeah,
you're
I
a little
like-
You gotta let motherfucker feel you.
Yeah, there's I haven't. I mean, I don't know. Like, I don't want to like
styling, though.
perpetuate stereotypes or whatever, but like, I don't know too many black folks who haven't thrown at least a fist. You know what I mean? At some point in their life. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I know a lot of white people who have never thrown a fist in their life. You know
Never
what I mean?
been to
And
school.
contrast. And again, like, I don't want to perpetuate stereotypes like we're like a violent people or whatever, but poverty breeds, crime and violence or whatever. And, we all come from, poor backgrounds.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, and when I'm looking at even the white folks that have never thrown a fist, they're usually, more economically advanced. Like all my white friends that grew
Well,
up in
things
the
can be
in,
settled.
like,
Concessions can be made.
Oh, yeah,
things
that-
can be understood.
Yeah.
I can offer you something.
or it's not worth it.
Yeah,
or
it's gonna hurt a brand. Like,
Yeah, like
for me,
if
my
you-
brand is my willingness to go to the point where you just not gonna take nothing from me.
Or
when you grow up
even
in a
like
certain
even
place.
as a kid, like if you steal something from me, I'm not getting that replaced. Like my mom ain't just gonna buy me another one.
Better go out
We
and find
gotta
it.
knuckle this out.
You better go out there and find it.
Either that or now I'm known as the dude
Yeah.
that can just get shit taken off of me. You know what I mean? So like, I get that, coming back and being like, yeah, I mean, that's where
he was born from.
that
That mindset, that's where he's born from, but that's not where he's going to stay at. That's where he's born from. That's what he's set there at PWX to do. And as far as like I said about the New Day, the thing about the New Day you got to understand is like, man, these guys is getting an opportunity to do this in front of a lot of people.
yeah,
And
but
I understand
what I
that
mean?
you can feel like they're doing a little bit too much, but think about it like this. They got put in a position
to coon.
to know that the cool.
You will always
to
be
get
able
fired.
to coon.
They got put in
people.
actually they got put in a position to get fired. That role they're playing, that position that they had, like they made that happen on themselves.
Well, see, I mean,
On their own, because you gotta. If you watch them, they're very swag. They're very.
they're coons.
They're very, but they're very.
I see
current.
no swag in that.
They're very current though.
I don't see them and be like, yo, I fucks with they swag. I be like, they coons.
like, see, I understand.
We will disagree on this
And
all
then,
podcast.
yeah, and that's the thing. That's the thing is that like, and that's why I brought it up from the beginning is because they are in an industry that pushes them towards that. And if you're going to be successful, you more or less have to fit into something because, like you said, it's what's familiar to the crowd. And
that's
the
whack.
majority of wrestling fans are rural white people. Yeah, I mean,
I
so
agree.
that's what they see. They want when they see black people, they want something that's going to be comfortable that are going to fit into that. I mean, and like it's. When you're in that, like it's tough. Like I said, you're in a position where you're like, all right, I'm gonna either remain true to myself or I'm gonna play this Booty-O's role and make millions.
Booty-O's, my G.
Make
like,
millions.
You gonna sit up here like,
I mean?
okay,
Like,
I feel that.
so,
like,
It's a tough-
and I agree with you, Ed.
Get
'cause
your money.
That's a coon.
I
yeah,
will
man.
never
I'm a
tell you
call
not
it a
to get
coon.
your money.
I understand how you got the cooning. But
I always follow the credo: never count a man's pockets. Get your money, fam. Fine.
Yeah, I'm gonna
now
get-
you cooning though.
Yeah.
New Day's
that's
cooning.
how you got it.
Why you got the saxophones and the trombone and all that crazy shit? Like what they got to do? I mean, and I guess it's entertainment. Fine, fuck it. I don't want to talk about them no more. Like again,
well,
it's
so
just
very
very
intense.
hard for me to be doing an open mic or be at a show and New Day's on TV and I'm the one of 2 black people in the building and there's 3 motherfuckers on TV and they're cooning, dog.
And the only reference they have to me is through them, and they're like, and they want to have conversations about bootios.
Yeah,
I'm like,
it's just that.
I'm glad I never
it
got
just
to that
reminds me of it just looks like a minstrel show, dog. Like I can't get with that bullshit.
So
Like,
with that, like, so how much, like, you know what I mean, like, what are some things, like, you know, with your character development, you know what I mean, like, and those
development.
Yeah, with the character development, whatever that you're doing, how much control do you have over that, and like, what are some things that you personally can do to push that? You know what I mean, and like, you know, outside of like, you know, roles that are given to you, how much leeway do you actually have yourself at the indie route? Because we're indie, like, we'll consider indie, you know, comedians, or we're at the ground level right now.
Yeah.
So we have some room to move forward that, like, say, you know, somebody that's already making millions doesn't. They've already fat into that.
Yeah,
they
already pigeonholed.
So now, they've already been pigeonholed. So you at that ground up, how much wiggle room do you have to move forward? I mean, and how much control do you have over your character development?
And in addition to that, just to piggyback of our last episode, do you run into situations where people want to give you that unrequested advice where they say, well, you can't do this or you should do that?
All right, so got that. The first one was a great question, because when it comes to character development, the thing is, when you're at the independent level, you are that A&R.
Okay.
Because you are creating this character. You are creating, and every day I'm creating it. So it's never to a point where like they tell me, well, I don't think you should do that, you should do this. They tell me, like, they give me ideas, this and the third, but a lot of times it's like I'm painting this picture.
Okay.
I'm the artist.
That's dope.
I'm painting this picture.
Yeah, that's dope.
And whoever I want Duke Davis to be, like, he could have been a flamboyant, you know, whatever guy. You know what I mean?
Have they pushed you to that? Just being a black guy? Like, it seems like generally like those
told them,
flamboyant, over the top types tend to like
the
New
money.
Day.
Yeah, they tend to get the money.
Yeah.
But how I look at it is like, well, I don't want to be a New Day, and I don't want to be Harlem. I don't want to be like predecessor, because we're same body type, Booker T. I don't want to be Booker T, but I respect Booker T. But the thing is, I want to be Duke Davis.
Right.
So Duke Davis has to figure out where he wants to go. Right now, I don't talk, I don't speak. I don't, you know, Duke Davis doesn't do none of that. He just goes to the ring, and now he starts to speak a little bit more. Now he does. But the thing is, as far as like them giving me advice, yeah, but I can make Duke Davis whoever I want him to be, wherever, because it's not someone over me saying, like a Vince McMahon saying, hey, we pay you to do this. This is what you're going to do type thing. It's me saying, hey, this is who I am. Where do I fit in your promotion?
So what do people evaluate you on as an up-and-comer? Do they evaluate you on technical skill? Do they evaluate you on like your finishing move? Yeah, I mean, like if you're Duke Davis and I'm a guy who could take you to that next level, I'm sure marketability comes into that to a certain degree. And so if I'm not offering suggestions on what you can move forward, then what am I evaluating you on? Because, you know,
yeah, like what does separate you from the pack? You
so
know what I mean?
when you're in there, because like I said, when you come through that curtain, it's just you. So they evaluate you on your I want to say presence, having presence, and having that ring ability. Are you ring ability? Are you able to get in the ring, listen to the crowd, listen to what they want, listen to what they don't want, and take bits and pieces from the crowd and make it you against them, and you getting the crowd into the match? Because if you go out there, I could be huge, go out there and the crowd doesn't do anything, and they're gonna be like, yo, we need to figure out what's going on with you. Or I can go out there and have my ears open and my eyes open to what's going on, but still doing the job. You know what I mean? Still doing the job, carrying out what I was supposed to do for the show to move in a positive fashion. So they watch you on that, because at the end of the day, it's their promotion.
Yeah.
They can push you to the bottom of the card or to the top. But when you're out there, you got to make sure that you are always moving forward and not messing up on the same little stuff, not listen to the crowd, not hitting your moves properly, not being safe.
Yeah.
Being safe is probably number one, really.
Yeah.
Are you safe?
So it's like a floor exercise in the Olympics when you say not hitting your moves properly. So like me I know you're gonna do some
Gymnast or
Olympic
whatever,
shit.
yeah.
I know you're gonna do some gymnast shit. Then I got to be like, okay, so he went into this move, and like generally, I guess there will be combinations that you do, and people will. Okay, that makes sense. Like that makes a lot of sense to me.
Guy, because who wants to do business with a guy that's not safe? Who wants to do business with a guy that's shady? Nobody.
Yeah.
You know, nobody wants to do business with that guy. Nobody wants to work with that guy.
Yeah, you're gonna be injured. I can't use you tomorrow night.
I can't use you, and I can't use this guy. You just hurt.
Yeah.
You hurt this guy. So that's two less guys I can use.
Exactly. Yeah.
So are you able to not only be marketable, but also are you able to just be a guy that's going to be a plus in the locker room? That's another thing. A plus in the locker room and a plus every day in training and a plus when you come out there and do your however long you're out there. It could be 60 seconds. But you gotta do your thing, man. You can't go out there and lay a dud.
Yeah.
And if you do, don't let the crowd know you laid a dud. You know, that's the last thing you want to do. And in that retrospect, like that's basically what they go off of, man. My understanding is like this. Like right now, I look at like there's not gonna be another guy that's gonna come across like Duke Davis because I make sure that he's on point when he goes out there.
Nice. So where can they find you, man?
Hey man, you can when you follow me, you can definitely follow him on Twitter at Duke. That's DUKE_Davis_ on Twitter. Dangerous.Duke.Davis on Instagram and also on Facebook, Duke Davis. You find me everywhere, man.
You got any events coming up?
Yeah, November 19th. It's our 22nd anniversary PWX out in McKeesport at 2125 Beacon Street. Show starts 7:30. We got a lot of big names coming out. Mark Madden's coming out there, a big name in the radio industry out here, and also in wrestling in general. We have Tully Blanchard, one of the original Four Horsemen, coming out as well. And we have Tully Blanchard. He's one of the original Four Horsemen. He's one of the original Four Horsemen. He's coming out for the show, and also a guy, Michael. I forgot his name. Michael Graves from the Misfits, formerly of the Misfits. He's coming out to perform at PWX anniversary show. So that's going to go down as, like I said, it starts 7:30. Bring your kids. It's $14 for general admission, $18 for VIP. I suggest getting VIP so you can sit close.
Nice. Before we go, I just want to what is your favorite wrestling move of all time?
My favorite wrestling?
Your favorite wrestling move.
Man, let me see. I got a lot.
Yeah.
But
well, your signature move is the choke slam.
My signature move is a choke slam.
Okay.
Is a choke slam. I also do a two-handed choke slam.
Shit.
What do you call it?
That's the woman beater. It's a two-handed choke slam.
It's called the Sum of All Slams.
That's son of all slams.
The Sum of All Slams.
Sum of all slams.
It's an act
right?
of passion.
That's a finisher. That's when you want to go to sleep. Hey, bust a nut. You know what I mean? But I should call it bust a nut. But,
I don't know. There's a lot of dudes with their shirts off.
Pause. But my favorite would have to be, man, and I love this guy to death, Macho Man Randy Savage. Rest in peace. The elbow off the top rope is the greatest thing ever.
The flying elbow off the top.
It's the greatest thing ever, man.
Yeah, I mean, I'm torn. I mean, I like the Stone Cold Stunner. I mean, a fan, but like Sweet Chin music, man.
Sweet Chin. Yeah, that's another one.
Shawn Michaels. It just
Did he just punch you in the chin? What did he do?
He would kick you in the chin, and it doesn't on the surface of things. It doesn't seem too crazy technical. I think a lot of it was just like his style, his flair, or whatever. And like, to be honest, to kick a motherfucker in his chin,
that hurts,
and not like really actually fuck him up, that takes a little bit of skill. But it was just the way he did it. Was just like, oh shit, like it just is it's just like a pretty ass fucking movement, and then they got a cool ass name, Sweet Chin Music, like it.
And one thing about him, a little tidbit for people listening that are wrestling fans, that wasn't even his finishing move when he first started.
Nah,
when he first became a solo, he did he used to do this. He used to do that kick, and
he was the Rockers,
Marty Jannetty.
Yeah, Marty did the Rockers. Yeah,
when they disbanded, he used to do the kick, but he then after that he would do the kick in the middle of the match. and then he would do the kick as a cutoff.
Uh,
Then after that, he would do what is like a fireman's carry to a German, like a fireman's carry to a suplex.
yeah.
And then one of the guys, Pat Patterson, told him, "Hey man, that doesn't look right. Switch it up.
Yeah.
Do the kick. The kick. People love the kick. Do the
Fucking
kick.
kick, yeah.
And he did the kick for a finishing move, and he kept it.
Because like when he did the kick, he would just like the way he cocked up and did the kick was like he would just pop, and then like the motherfucker would drop, and like because he was a rocker, so he had already built himself as like a rock star and his whole, and like when he did the kick and the motherfucker drop, he could do like a little like he would just like walk off from it like, yeah, I just did that shit. Like it was just. Yeah, it was pimp as fuck, man. Like so,
like the hair would be flying and the guy would flip. And it was a beautiful thing to watch.
I'm so happy you guys know what you're talking about.
I'm actually going to try to come out and see one of your shows, man.
Do that,
like
man.
I like because. Like I said, it's one of those things that I grew up watching. I kind of like, got off of it, and like I've just started to recently get, more involved and like, I don't watch as much like WWE just because there's too much of that like drama in between. Like it's too much soap opera type shit in between. I just want to see y'all motherfuckers wrestle.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So like, I don't really want to watch the WWE, but I'd love to come to see like I've never actually been to an amateur or indie wrestling match or whatever. So
It's different, man. It's very different.
Yeah,
it's more matches, more in the ring action, more in your face, and we respond to the fans. We're all, like, put it like this, man. If you come out there and you want to scream at a guy, expect him to scream back at you because that's how we do things.
Yeah.
And PWX, man, it's what we do out there. We take it to the extreme.
Nice. November 19th.
November
November
19th.
19th,
So
man.
look, real quick before we go now, I don't know if Duke Davis does this, but VA, the man, has a podcast, Day Drinking, where they drink on a podcast similar to us.
Oh, yeah, you got a podcast?
Yeah, so
we
shout out-
got through like 90 minutes. We ain't talking about your podcast.
We got to a lively
wrestling
conversation, man.
I didn't know you were so well versed in wrestling, Dave.
Yeah, man.
Like, God damn.
I didn't want to leave the topic, man.
I'm a closet nerd, man. Like,
So
I didn't
just
wanna leave the
real
topic.
quick, give a quick synopsis of the podcast, where they can find it. There's a bunch of dudes that I know personally that are really cool. So
Shit,
I would,
I'm trying to
I would
be on
always
that
suggest
bitch.
it.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Definitely get a crosscast going at some point.
hell yeah.
Definitely, man. What we do is those guys, those are my savages. It's called the we do day drinking on Saturdays and sometimes Sundays, and we just sit up there and day drink.
That's my kind of drinking.
Yeah, and we're not as you guys have it together here with this raging bitch. This shit is excellent. Shout out to the raging bitch. Shout out to
Ed
Flying
actually
Dog.
got that, man. Shout out to Ed, man. He's learning,
I'm on top
man.
of my shit.
Flying
Yeah.
Dog, man.
I was here first.
He came first and he brought good brew, man.
You know what I mean?
He might be the winner now.
So what we do, man, honestly, man, I just grab like 5 topics out of the week that I think are either mainstream or I come up with some ideas for topics, and I just throw them to the guys. Like, yo, we talk about relationships. We heavy talk about relationships, sex a lot, threesomes a lot. You know what I mean? We talk about heavy threesomes. We don't talk about too much about wrestling, or we may touch on some sports here and there, but we're heavy into relationships and heavy into having threesomes. Yeah, conquest.
Yeah, things in them. Yeah.
And because my guys are savages, we do a lot of stuff where we sit back and we just talk about stuff that we used to do, and we got a lot of good stories. And like we are different because we don't do it. We don't have a set time when we do it. We just post it when we can.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Especially my schedule is kind of crazy right now, so my guys just fly with me. But you can check us out on SoundCloud, SoundCloud.com/The Perez Show. That's the banner name. It's called Day Drinking. And listen, if you want us to, a couple guys just go off the cuff,
Yeah.
because I let the guys just go. Pretty much just press record and say, "Hey, welcome to Day Drinking."
Yeah.
Here goes the topics. Let's get into it. And I let the guys do their thing. Like, you guys are welcome to come down. And I normally
Please have us on. Please
like to have
drinking?
yeah.
Please get us on the
Like to have guys down there
Where you
that's
say,
want to just have a open
talk
forum
about these things.
and just rant,
Yeah.
rave, and be
Oh,
raging
man,
lunatics.
that's what I need.
So many stories in my
Just a
short
rant.
life.
Yeah.
And it's nice because when you go on somebody else's podcast, like you don't have to like keep the thing going or interview or whatever. I can actually just rant.
I can actually.
I'm gonna come through
Oh, my
and
goodness.
rant.
Like,
Look for the drinking partners, day drinking partners collaboration.
Woo!
Oh
That's
my
gonna be
goodness,
crazy.
that's just gonna be nutty, dog.
Hey, look, cause like when I first started, it's like when I first started doing anything, man, I was interviewing,
He's doing the
hip-hop
press show.
artists.
I was on the press show.
and I was doing
Shout out to the press show.
interview Ed there, man. I remember I remember interviewing him, and I knew that he was going to do something bigger than being interviewed by
That's
me.
how it. First time I saw him on stage, I called it the Golden Child, man. He just had that you know what I mean? I'm like, this motherfucker, now I gotta do something different. I gotta switch my lane up.
Even you, man, on social media, you are a fucking
Crushing it.
vulture, dude.
Oh.
You go in. Like some days, man, I might not even tweet. I just look at what you're attacking, either attacking somebody or
You're
you
relentless,
cracking on somebody.
man.
Yo, Dave Bracy, you do your thing, man.
I appreciate
the
it, man.
Casey Hampton of Twitter.
You
Just
let him
filling his
have it.
face and working hard at it. Like,
I appreciate because I don't know who's listening or watching, and I do my tweets just like I do the podcast. I just talk like nobody's listening, man, and just hope that people vibe with it. So
I'm vibing.
I appreciate
shit.
that, man. That's it's very rare that anybody talks about anything I do on Twitter, so I appreciate that, man.
It's always love when
Sure,
real people
man.
can link up.
Yeah, man.
Make sure you look. If you're in the Pittsburgh area or if you're in surrounding areas, or I know he travels a little bit, gets outside of the city, check out Duke Davis.
Yeah.
Yo, I just appreciate the new perspective on wrestling. And I felt like for the people like who even like wrestling, they don't even know what goes into it. I feel like people just see
learned.
these large events.
Yeah, I learned myself.
And they
man.
don't know like the shit that goes into it. Like this motherfucker's really trying to come up.
Yeah. I was really
Getting
in the
into
ring
it.
last
Like
night.
it ain't always people who just on. Like it ain't just like, yo, it ain't people that are audition doing some shit. It's like people really grinding and doing some underground shit. So if you're really into that culture, you can find some very high quality shit in your area. Just look out for it, man. And also look out for Day Drinking on SoundCloud. Once that episode, that crosscast happens between us and them, obviously we gonna shout it out.
No.
It's gonna be mad ignorant. So
No.
if you're more into the ignorant side of the shit we do, please listen in. If you want to hear the beer reviews, this ain't the cast for you. You know what I'm saying?
Nah.
So shout out to the homie Duke Davis coming through, man. I was very excited to have you on. Dave Bracy, let the people know where they can find us.
If you're looking for us, you can find us on epicastnetwork.com/partnerspot. You can find us on IG, Twitter, and Facebook @partnerspot. And you can find us on iTunes, Stitcher, Libsyn, and Google Play under Drinking
We
Partners.
Googleable.
Hey, yo, November 26th, Comptra Theater, man. Get your tickets, ComtraTheater.ticketleap.com, man. Booze, comedy, music, and fuck your family on Thanksgiving, man. You tired of them anyway. Or bring them. It's cool.
On
Do
top
that
is
too.
just us. As always, Drinking Partners is the crew. Epicast is the family, and we out. Gotta hit that button.